All right, guys, welcome. We are going to be going over the Math 3 Unit 2 review number 1, absolute value. So let's go ahead and get right started. All right, question number 1. Question number 1, by the way, had one picture that didn't show in the answer choices for some reason, but that is not the right answer to begin with. So the question says, the f of x is the absolute value parent function. The following transformations were applied, resulting in negative f, x minus 4 plus 1. Well, absolute value is going to have the bars, so you can say y equals, and do shift in the button above enter, absolute value of x. That's your parent function. Let's take a look at that. So to move that, the negative f of x would be y equals negative, and then x minus 4 in the absolute value, plus 1. What that is a reflection over the x-axis. That's where the negative comes in. 4 units to the right, minus 4 is 4 units to the right, plus 4 is 4 units to the left. And then plus 1 on the outside of the absolute value is going to be up 1. So if you zoom in, it should look like that. Should have a vertex at 4, 1 and open downwards. So that's going to be that one. All right, number 2. What statement describes the translation from graph y equals absolute value of x to y equals absolute value of x plus 3 minus 4? You can graph this. It's just going to take it left 3 and down 4. But knowing the rules makes this a little faster, so you don't have to graph it. So anytime there's a plus 3 inside, that's left, down 4. So maybe that one. All right, question number 3. An absolute value function is pictured below. So it's opening downward. Looks like it's centered at 3, 2, and somewhat narrower than the original. After it is transformed in the coordinate plane, the new function is y equals 2 absolute value x plus 1 minus 4. Describe the transformations that occurred. All right, let's graph the new function, 2 absolute value x plus 1 minus 4. It looks like it went left and down and also flipped, reflected. So reflected of the x-axis, shifted left. Specifically, it would have went left 4 units because that's at negative 1. And then this point went down 6 because that's at negative 4. But we don't need to get that specific here. Reflected, left, and down. Reflected, left, and down. Next problem. All right, graph of a function is shown below. The graph is translated 2 units to the right, 2 units up. What is the new equation of the function? This one you got to watch out for sure because it's going to have a problem where it starts at not the origin. It's starting at the coordinate negative 1, negative 3. So if you note where that starts and it's going 2 units to the right from there and 2 units up from there, that's got to be the vertex. So it should look like this, which means that it's actually going to be centered around 1, negative 1, which means it's going to go right 1, down 1. So it should be absolute value of x minus 1, minus 1 on the outside. Let's verify that that's right. And there we have it. So don't put minus 2, or plus 2. That's a trick question. Next. Match key points with the given equations. So you just graph each one of them. Y equals negative absolute value, x minus 5. And let's take a look at it. Well, first of all, it has a maximum That point is 5, 0. So it's got a maximum at 5, 0. And it does have 1, 0 also at 5. 0 is whatever value of x gives you y equals 0. So it only has 1. So it's going to be that one. Let's look at the absolute value of x plus 5. Where did it go? All right, this has a minimum at negative 5, 0. Also has a 0 at negative 5. So it's going to be that. All right, y equals absolute value of x, close absolute value, minus 5. All right, that's going to have a minimum at 0, negative 5. And a 0 at negative 5 and positive 5. So 0's at negative 5 and positive 5, minimum at 0, negative 5. And then finally, the last one is going to have this be negative and that positive, plus 5. And so that's going to be a maximum at 0, 5, and your zeros are still going to be at negative 5 and positive 5. So a maximum at 0, 5, zeros, negative 5, and 5. Next, how does the graph of y equals x transform to the graph of y equals 5x, 5 absolute value of x? Anytime you multiply by a number on the outside, if it's bigger than 1 or less than negative 1, if you take the negative off, if there is one, it's going to stretch it. It's going to make it narrower. So 5 is going to make it narrow. Likewise, negative 5 would make it narrow. It would just reflect it. So that 5 is going to stretch it vertically, not compress. Compress would be like 1/5. That's going to make it wider. But 5, narrow, vertically stretched. All right, question 7. State all the correct solutions. Do not select extraneous solutions. All right, for 7, what you can do, you can take the left side of the equation, you can say y equals that. Put it in Desmos. Take the right side of the equation, say y equals that. Put it in Desmos. Find where they intersect. I'll also show you how to do this by hand. So there is the left side. Right side is y equals 13. You might have to zoom out to find where they cross. This has 2 intersections, so it's going to have 2 solutions, negative 10 and positive 7. Now here's how you do it by hand. You write the equation out. Isolate the absolute value. In this case, we just have to add 4. And then you write 2 equations. Lift the absolute value bar for both of them. Make the 17 negative for one of them and solve them both. Minus 3. That's going to be 2x equals 14. X equals 7. And then negative 17 minus 3 is negative 20. So 2x equals negative 20. Divided by 2. X is negative 10. Next question. I should have said this earlier, but feel free to pause and take it all in for each one. Sometimes I get kind of quick, but I want this video to be kind of quick. All right, we can do the next one by graph and by hand. So by graph, you just do y equals negative 3, absolute value 3x plus 4, close it up, plus 5. And you'd say y equals negative 13. And like the one before, this one does have 2 solutions. These are decimals. So you got to get those fractions. But you can think about what is -3 repeating and 0.6 repeating. And that 0.667 is actually 0.6666 repeating. Those are going to be your two solutions. So this is really -3 1/3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, so it's -10/3. 0.6 repeating, that's 2/3. And if you just want to double check that, you can go into your main screen and you can just type in what is 2 divided by 3. There's your 0.666 repeating. And then 10 divided by 3 is there's your 3.333 repeating. Now you can see that, well, it's going to have 10/3 and 2/3, but 10/3 is the one that's negative, and that's not there. But 2/3 does have the positive, so that's the one you want to pick. Now let's solve that by hand. Very similar to the last problem, except you have an additional step, and you got to get rid of this number out front. So we still want to subtract the 5. That's -18. We still want to divide by -3. 18 divided by 3 is 6, so negative divided by negative is also positive. So that's the absolute value of 3x plus 4 is equal to 6. And then we solve it the same way we did before. So we have 3x plus 4 equals 6, and 3x plus 4 equals -6. Take away 4 from both sides. 3x equals 2. And there's your 2/3. -6 minus 4 is -10. So there's your -10/3. And both of those give you solutions. Next question. Number 9. Which of these has no solution? Well, a no solution graphically would be where they don't intersect. So you could type each one of these in. Left side of the equation. Hit the fraction bar first if you want to put multiple stuff up there. And we'll take that in there, up there, and you can see that it does cross. That's got a solution. That's at 5. That one's good. Let's look at the next one. Y equals -3 absolute value, x plus 5 over 2 plus 2. And that's a lot to type in. I promise you, if you get lots of practice at it, you'll get fast at typing these in, okay? Well, this one has 2 solutions. -13 and +3. So that's got solutions. Let's look at the third one. Absolute value of x divided, let me start again. Y equals absolute value of x divided by 3, right arrow -1. Close it up, -5. And y equals -2. All right, this one also has 2 solutions, -6 and +12, which means the last one, if we did this right, won't have any solution. So y equals absolute value of -5 minus 4x plus 9. And that one's way up here. And y equals -40. Don't just put -40, you got to put the y there too. And you can see that that's way away from this one. They won't cross. There's your no solution. Mathematically, it's as simple as if you take away number 9, if you solve and isolate the absolute values, you take away 9 from -40, you're going to get the absolute value of 5 minus 4x is equal to a -49. Well, that's impossible because anytime you have an absolute value of anything, it's supposed to be a positive. So that's not going to work. And that's why they don't cross on the graph. All right, next. At what points of the graph so y equals negative 3x plus 1 and y equals, parentheses x minus 3 squared minus 6 intersect? Just graph them. There's that one. Y equals, and let's see, let's zoom in a little bit. Looks like they cross at 1, negative 2 and 2, negative 5. 1, negative 2 and 2, negative 5. Just click on where they cross each other, not the x-axis or the y-axis, but each other. Number 11. If f of x equals 2x cubed minus 4x minus 5 and g of x equals absolute value of x minus 3 plus 2, what's the x value of f of x equals g of x? You can do shift 6 to get that third power up there. I have other videos going more slowly over typing this stuff, so I encourage you to watch those if you're still needing some extra help inputting your stuff into Desmos. But this video is just going over solutions right now. So you put the two graphs in, it says what's the x value where they equal each other? That's their intersection. The answer would be 2, not 3, because that's the x value where they equal each other. So 2. All right, which graph represents the solutions to the inequality? Let's talk about inequalities for a minute. I'll show you graphically on here and by hand how you can do that. So with an inequality, press the fraction bar to get that. You can, and you do the less than or equal, do shift less than, that's the comma, and then hit the equal sign, put the bar under it. And just the shaded on here is going to be anything between negative 5 and positive 7. But it'll include those two numbers because of the equals. So negative 5 got the closed circle, and positive 7 also has a closed circle because of that. And therefore, it cannot be this one. It's going to be this one here. Now, by hand, here's what you do. You, the way I like to do them, and I apologize if you're a different teacher and you have a different technique, is I like to first multiply by 2 here, get rid of that. Here, let's do that over here. That's going to be 6. So that's going to be the absolute value of x minus 1 is less than or equal to 6. Now, I like to put a sandwich. So I say negative 6 less than or equal to x minus 1 less than or equal to positive 6. So I take the absolute value off, make the negative on the left, positive on the right, and keep the less than or equal to. And then I'm just going to add the 1 to everything. And so you'll see negative 5 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 7. And that's what that one is. All right, 13, moving along. All right, we can do this inequality as well. We type in 2, absolute value 4x minus 1, close it up, plus 8 is greater than 14. So just the shading part, you can see that it's going in opposite directions. So that means it won't be one of these two, because we don't want the x in between them. We want the x going less than the small one and greater than the big one. And this is greater than, not greater than or equal to, so it's got a dashed line. So if you look, if you scroll in here, you can see that that small number looks like negative 0.5 or negative 1/2. And it's anything less than negative 1/2. And then the large number is positive 1, that's anything greater than 1. So that's going to be x is less than negative 1/2. And then you say or, because it's going the other way, x is greater than 1. Well, that's going to be this one. X is less than negative 1/2, or X is greater than 1. Or implies you could write, it doesn't matter which one you write first, as long as the inequality symbol's in the right order. By hand, you would do, let me write it again. Going to take away 8. Oops, that's going to be 6, not negative 22. Erase that there. And then divide by 2. That's 3. And then I do a sandwich inequality. So I say negative 3 greater than 4x minus 1 greater than positive 3. And I'll add the 1, divide by 4. And that's negative 2 is greater than 4x, which is greater than 4. And if I divide by 4, 2 divided by 4 is negative 2 divided by 4 is negative 0.5. And then 4 divided by 4 is 1. Here's the tricky part. You don't want to write it like that. That doesn't make any sense. So if the negative 5 is 0.5 is less than x, we reverse it, turn it around, you say x is less than negative 0.5. And then this part here, you can just write it as is, or x is greater than 1. Personally, I like the graph on that one. It's a little bit easier to kind of understand. All right, two more. There's the one. Okay, the ideal weight of a banana is 118 grams. This weight can be off by as much as 4 grams. What's the absolute value? It's going to look like this. Absolute value of x minus 118 less than or equal to 4. You just put the ideal weight in the middle and how much it can be off by at the end. And graphically, it'll look like I'm going to have to go all the way over here to the hundreds. So give me a second while we do that. So anything between 114 and 122. So if I add 4 to 118, it's 122. Subtract 4, it's 114. All right, and our last question here, I just realized that you cannot put f of x with the shaded inequalities. So do y is, actually, I didn't realize that a student pointed that out. So thank you, I forget who said it, but thank you for a student that did point that out. Y is less than or equal to 1 divided by 2 absolute value of x plus 3. So that's going to look like, I'll press this home screen here and get me back. That's going to look like that. So solid line here. And then let's say y is greater than absolute value of x minus 4. Close it up. So that's going to be a dashed line for that one. And then the actual answer is the part where they're overlapped. So this little triangle here is what we're looking for. So we have two that kind of look like that, but be careful which one you pick, because this one has the dashed line correctly, where the solid line is here correctly, but this one has them reversed. We don't want to click that. So we actually do want to click the one that has the solid line above, put the solid line here, the top of that shaded portion, and the dashed line at the bottom of it. And let me submit it. There are 3 unanswered questions. See the right sidebar for details. Hold on. Oh, I gotta go back and answer the ones that I meant to answer. So question 1, we did say was gonna be right 4 up 1, reflected. So it's gonna be that one. And then question 9, we said was going to be that one. And then question 14. Oh, right, I kind of got paused the video there. So the middle number is going to be in the absolute value, and the wiggle room is going to be outside. So that's your answer for that. Everything's answered. Let's go ahead and submit it. Cross your fingers. Hope you got 100. And 100 out of 100. Excellent. So you can do the same thing. Thank you.